Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. Today I got a couple of things to do while Lisa's up at the house making some homemade loaf bread. We've got to get on a project for these golden fryer chicks that we put in the brooder the other day. We're actually going to be building a stationary chicken hut in the woods, and we're going to be using it as another composting chicken hut to add supplement to our garden, our compost pile. Actually, what I'm going to do with this one is, well, I'll show you when I get to it. I don't want to spoil it just yet. But we'll try to get down here to the garden and do a little bit of work today too, weather permitting, and me feeling like it. Kind of in a crunch right now to get several things done. Guys, hit the old like for us, subscribe if you hadn't, and if you have, y'all, we appreciate it. Let's get into a few things and see what we can get done today. Yeah, let's face it, ain't everybody got acres and acres of grass to run chickens and pigs and cows and stuff like that on. We live back in the woods and grass is at a premium. Now, we'll clear more land as time goes on, but for right now, this is what we got to work with. So we're going to be building a stationary chicken coop, much like for our breeder chickens up here. We use that as a composting chicken coop and it works great. You go in there about once a month. Clean out the litter. It stays nice and dry because, you know, the litter's up on top of slabs off of the sawmill. We'll do the same thing in this one. But we're going to actually use pine needles because we have lots of pines here on the Piney Woods Homestead, and we'll be using that as litter. That we'll be able to pull out in the fall and put around all of our blueberry bushes to give them some nice acidic rich nutrient and compost and mulch for the winter. So I'm going to go ahead and get started clearing out a few of these small saplings. We've actually got to dig a small trench all the way around because we're going to lay a footing, not a permanent footing, not with concrete, but we will use block. So basically a stationary footing, and we're going to build on top of that a new hoop house. It's just a bunch of saplings and mess out here that I need to whack out of here, and I'll go ahead and get that done. And we'll basically be using the floor of the woods out here for this chicken coop. We'll put slabs on it, but you get the idea. I've had an old metal bed frame out here in the woods that I've kept some treated lumber stacked on, some metal to keep it up off the ground. Been out here for a number of years, and I'll try to reuse some of that treated lumber. It still looks to be in halfway decent shape. Some 2x10s I pulled out of there. Might use that for kind of like my sill plate. Alright, I got most of that mess out of my way now. Now I can come in here with a shovel, it's already fairly level, and make me a couple of ditches all the way around a rectangle or a square so that I can lay down a simple foundation, put a sill plate on top, and put my cattle panel hoops over it, tarp it in, and it's going to make an excellent chicken coop for about 8 weeks to raise out these golden fryers. And I'm hoping at 8 weeks, you know, we're going to document it and see how long it takes us to get them up to that 3 to 4 pound range. I really think it'll probably be about 8 weeks. So we'll see, but we're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Now I need for this chicken coop to be 102 inches long or deep. And to give me a good straight line to start with, I'm going to use a piece of this scrap metal that was laying over here so I can paint it. And I'll pull off 102 inches. You know, this is kind of reminds me, I used to watch this TV show when I was a kid growing up. Maverick, used a bunch of duct tape. MacGyver. We do a whole lot of MacGyvering out here. All right, now I got me a straight line, 102 inches long, and that'll be my reference point. I'll go ahead and get that little bit of a ditch dug on grade. Shouldn't take long, there ain't much fall out here. And if it ain't perfect, it ain't perfect. But this block foundation is gonna be basically allow me more headroom when I walk in. Plus it's gonna be permanent. I can use rough cut lumber. I'm not gonna have to worry about ground contact. And predator apron. It's gonna be serving all its purposes. I'll tell you one thing, it ain't taking me long to come out of this coat. It's cold when I came out here. It's amazing how it warms up when you start working a shovel. We used to call it a backhoe. I won't say exactly what we called it a long time ago, but I always called a shovel a manual backhoe. That's why you got really good at learning how to operate levers on heavy equipment, because that old backhoe, it got old. Now I gotta come back in here and do a little bit of leveling, but it ain't far off at all, and you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing now. I'm building one course foundation without using any brick cement or anything tied all together. It's just laid in here. That's going to provide something to put my untreated lumber on, as well as a predator apron. Alright y'all, that foundation isn't perfect, but it's close enough. It's level. It's not 100% square, but it's pretty close. Now, I've got a good base to build on and a good predator apron already established. In my experience, it takes a while for something to dig in under them blocks like that. They can do it, but if you're out here managing it every day, it's not likely. Alright y'all, that's about all the manual labor I feel like doing on that project for the day. We're going to get down here to the garden. We'll see if I can till. We had 2.5 inches of rain about 3 days ago, but the breeze, the wind has kind of helped dry it out. I'm going to see if it's good enough to till. You don't want to till if it's wet, because it's just going to end up making really hard soil to work with. Big clumps, and we don't want big clumps. You can see back here behind me, these girls have knocked down all that litter that you saw me put in here on the last video. And they're still pecking through it. It's a good way to make use of something that was just going to go on the compost pile. And later we'll rake it up. Once it gets wet, once it gets rained on, we'll rake it up, put it on the compost pile. But for now, I think I'm going to take a break, and we'll pick back up down at the garden here in a little bit. All right, y'all, I'm back down here at the garden spot. I took my time, and about 3 hours later, got that foundation done this morning for that new chicken coop for those golden fryers. But Lisa's itching to get down here in the dirt and plant some tomato plants and pretty much the entire garden. So I've got some more prep work to do. We'll get this tilled real quick, and I believe it's fine to till. I've drove over it coming in here, it did stick to my tires, so we should be good. Got some posts to put in the ground here in a little bit. We're going to do our tomatoes a little different this year. We usually do the Florida weave, and I'll be honest, that thing gets on my nerves. So we're going to try something different, something a little more permanent. Let me get this tilled up real quick, and then maybe we'll get some posts in the ground, maybe not. Depends on how I feel, y'all. part of that tilled. I didn't do the whole thing. Some of it's a little bit tacky still, but I fluffed it up. It's a little bit damp over here where I'm wanting to plant some corn, and that's why I'm wanting to plant it there, because it stays a little bit damp and tacky, and corn likes that because it's a grass and it's going to grow with good moisture. But up on the far side's where our tomatoes are going to be, and it tilled perfectly. So I know, go see if I can grab a hold of Lisa, stop her from whatever she's doing. She's been making bread, and I ate some a while ago, and it was mighty fine with some butter melted on it. And see if we can get down here and put some posts in the ground. We've got cattle panels laying over here, and we're going to put those things up so that we have a permanent, yeah, we got to take it down every year, but it's just going to be a whole lot easier than doing that Florida weave stuff that we used to do. That stuff got on my nerves. You can do it. I'm allergic to tomatoes, believe it or not, at least on my arms. And I have to wear long sleeves messing with them. I've already got bit by them once, helping Lisa take stuff outside while she was hardening it off. So she does most of the tomato work. Everything else, I got no problem with. But let me go see if I can grab her real quick, and we'll get down here and drive a few posts in the ground. All right, y'all, that's going to end it for us today here at the Piney Woods Homestead. I think Lisa's trying to kill me and collect insurance money. Yeah?
No.
Appreciate you sticking around while I got that little foundation set for our golden friars. And we got down here, did a little bit of tilling, and we've put this little bit of, what do you call them, cattle panels up for tomato plants. And we've got some support work to do, come in here, do a little bit of wiring stuff up. But I'm spent. Lisa's going to do that, and I'm going to sit back, sip on my Gatorade, and watch her. Y'all hit the old thumbs up for us. Subscribe if you hadn't, and if you have, we appreciate it. The gator seat's calling my name. Y'all, we'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.